Wolfpack! I also realized, hold on, because I already started reading the second one here. Yeah, and also this one is off-center. That disgusts me. Anyway, I think I said I was going to start that like a few months ago. Now it's probably, I don't know when. I haven't started editing any of this, and I'm just starting this one out. But hello. First time here. I'm going to get this right out of the way. I read from a script here. I already read through this first book. I read through a script. Now, Wolfpack here, I'll kind of get more into some information as we continue to read throughout the series. There is a cat hair in my book that I cannot get out. Jeez, that's disgusting. But there is also one primary reason that I wanted to start this. There's a sticker here that I cannot remove. It's on all of them. It fucking, that's stop doing that. Anyway, this series, as stated on here, is a TV show or a show on Paramount Plus. And the reason why I know about that is because it got canceled. We'll talk more about that. We'll also go watch the series. I want to read this one read all of them before we get into the other stuff. Because book 4 has to where we can go into like what Edo von Bolkum, like his process through getting a show anyway. Because this one I think was made back in 2004, and it is in the perspective of third person, but narrated as it's like past tense. So that's interesting, but also at times we don't hear our characters with their thought processes too much. And especially because some of this stuff, I think Edo does a real good job of horror and description. Character development, again, this is book 1, needs help. Because to distinguish the brothers from the sister, to distinguish the brothers from each other is a hard thing to do, because one's got heterochromia, one's kind of muscular, and the other is the leader. Okay, that's all you need. I take that back. Later on you find out like a sudden character development that's just put in here. Oh, and you want to know what the girl's character arc is? Girl, anyway. Damsel in distress. Same with like their adoptive mom. She's just woman who baked cookies. I think the only one who technically has character are the bad guys and Garrett, their adoptive dad. So, and again, I'll talk more about that in this book and later on in the series. I'm rambling on because I truly don't know how to do anything without going on a rant. Now, I'm also trying to figure out where the rest of this series is going to go, because especially with the first one, it seemed like there was going to be a clear, he's back, and then we'll see. Anyway, let's get reading to Wolfpack. Garrett Brock is a firefighter fighting a forest fire in Redstone, British Columbia, when suddenly a wolf walks right through, like it clearly did not give a bigger shit about what is happening around it. After all is said and done, Garrett heads into the charred remains, finding a hollow tree with 4 wolf pups trying to make their way around. Garrett's like, no, he takes them with him. He takes them back home where his wife, Phyllis, is that how you say it? Phyllis? I think it's Phyllis, is clearly smitten with them. They set up a place for them in the garage as Phyllis takes one last look at them before bed, finding not puppies, but human babies now in place.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
We jump straight to 15 years later, as now the kids are, well, 15 years old. Noble Argus, yeah, is that how it's pronounced? Argus? I keep not saying it. I keep saying Agus. So if I accidentally say Agus, that's my bad, because I can't read. Noble, Argus, Harlan, and Tora are practicing transforming parts of their bodies before deciding to wolf out and run into the forest. Meanwhile, Dr. Edward, Monk, Charles, and Bruno are recording in the forest about fires. The hell kind of doctor are you? In the distance, 4 kids, almost adults really, were stripping out of their clothes, and then, it was almost too incredible to believe, began transforming themselves into wolves. Which part was incredible, sir? You want to go into more detail about that?
I couldn't make this shit up. I couldn't make this shit up if I tried. I'm sad that I lack the talent to make this shit up.
The back returns half an hour later as Noble smells that people were close by, but not when they were changing and not very, 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 very close by. Consistency. What's that? Well, it turns out they're doing a documentary for the Discovery Channel, as Park Ranger of the Forest Garrett Brock tells us. I don't know how to put that. I didn't know how to put that in because he suddenly just changed profession, so there we are. Oh, and wouldn't you believe it? The doctor's a geneticist.
No.
Color Bay's shocked that he also plans to capture them. They set up a trap, digging a hole in the ground, and wait. Right on cue, Tora runs through the forest to try and beat her brothers back, only to fall in, being hit with a dart that puts her to sleep. The boys realize she's not at the meeting place, finding the trap, and put two and two together a little too quickly, but her scent along with the other guys' scents are around the trees, so it kind of wasn't too hard to figure that out. They end up going to Redwood after finding some traces, only to follow it all the way to an inn where Tora is being held in a van, calling for help. The brothers must wait, though. The three who took her are still roaming around. Attack. Attack. Get in front and charge. 3 versus 3. One of you can hit in the van. Bada bing, bada boom. I don't know why that's so hard, especially because at the beginning, they're not really there yet. Like, they hear her. I don't either. Also, an even better one. Why don't we just say, hey, my sister has been abducted? They would probably rush real quickly to that one. Or better yet, tell your parents, who probably could help you a little bit better. But, you know, teenagers. They break in after the goons go inside the inn, finding her locked in a cage. They realize a few things. She's been hooked up to some electroshock device, and 2, she's got burnt 4. Why we are keeping these assholes alive again boggles me. But Noble tries to open the cage, but can't. Transform and open it. Or, better yet, I'm sure there are tools in there to open it. But he can't, and they say they'll return. Again, you could, or tell your parents. Get the plate number and or scare the people. Like, literally, you know what you are, right? You have the ability to scare people. Oh no, I'm gonna tell the police that, like, kids who transformed into werewolves did this. They're not gonna believe you. They're just gonna say kids, like, attacked you. And even then, you abducted a child. But they do take one of my advices and decide that since this is a human problem, why not say, hey, the doctor and the goons were trespassing in the forest. The very accessible piece of land, and trespassing, since it's a part of the forest that is not owned by anyone and technically is not anyone's property, it is government land. Anyway, and also they technically did have a way to be on this land legally. They were making a documentary, as your father previously told you. So technically, they're not trespassing. Also, they don't call Garrett Dad either, just Ranger Brocker. I don't know why either, but the narrator does call them Garrett's adoptive daughter or parents. Garrett calls the police and tells them about Dr. Monk and the wolf as they head over to the hotel. Sadly, the van and Tora are no longer there as the doctor is clinically insane, telling the police it's a werewolf and that it could lead to all kinds of solutions. Needless to say, his goons took her, but to where? He makes a long-ass phone call. You see, Monk is friends with the Premier of the British Columbia, the Forest Minister, and the Minister of Environment, plus the RCMP, aka the police in Ottawa, Canada. Cool, but, he broke the law. Why is no one saying, hey, he stole a literal child? And also, in some parts of the world, I know in the US, Canada, different laws, if you take a wild animal, you can get a hefty fine and they will have to relocate that animal back into the area, especially if it's a certain type of wolf. And if it's, again, at a ranger park area, they are protected. You have to bring them back, especially if it's like national forest or whatever like that. Like, you are going to jail because those animals are protected. And also, he never says what he needs with these wolves besides, they could help save humanity. Okay, we got 70 other types of wolves here. Why this one? What you gonna do with it, buddy? What'd it do? Did it wink at you? What the hell happened? he never does go into further explanation besides it's special, and everyone's like... Sadly, Garrett has to tell the others this news, as thankfully the van shows up, but we all know that Tara ain't there. He tells them to go, and Garrett says that he'll get her back, as the minister isn't coming until tomorrow, so maybe he'll get in some sort of trouble, especially since he didn't ask permission and just stole a wolf from a wild preservation. The boys go back to school the next day. I would not. I would not. No. I'd say, no, I'm waiting for my sister. No. I don't know how they could, truly. No, we're not going to school. We're not going to work. We're waiting for our sister. Nope. I don't care what year this was made. Nope, you can't make me. Nope. During lunch, Michael Martin sits with them. He's the sergeant's son, and they think to maybe ask, but also not ask about the situation. Michael is emotionally there, being their closest friend, but is clueless at times. Like now that he asked about Tara and wants to visit her. So a cute little crush thing is kind of going on here. They say no, as Michael clearly pieces together that something has happened. So the bad news comes as Dr. Monk is allowed to take Tara. Okay, boys, break into the van. No, really, that's it. No more waiting. We just... Go. I don't know why we waited this long anyway. Just go. Sadly, Garrett can't do anything about it since he's tied job-wise. Yes, you can. And she's gonna be taken to the Vancouver Zoo for whatever reason. Again, there's no real reason. Besides, she's special. What made her special? Also, I don't think it's really put out there, like, their fur color besides silver. Again, what made her special? I don't know. Noble has an idea, but won't tell them.
He's an asshole.
The boys head to Martin's place, as we cut to Bruno watching back the tapes and see Tora partially switch back during her sleep. The boys get Michael to agree to help break Tora out, as Monk is showed the footage, pushing to leave now. Of course, the government worker shows up, Ethan Arthurton. He asks the same question as everyone else, what's so special about the wolf, as Dr. Monk brings him to the van. Monk basically says to sign the papers and to let them leave, or he'll call his higher-ups, as Garrett walks up and is like, you ain't leaving, bitch. Oh, and Dr. Monk did call the school, and he knows that she's related to him. You know, people adopt children all the time, right? Of the same age, too. Sometimes, get this, sometimes from different families. I don't know if, like, back then it was, like, more like, oh my god, they're technically siblings, but they're not related. You could still be siblings and not, like, have any blood ties. Let me just say this now. Sometimes, when people foster children, they get more than one from different families around the same age, too. A lot of people will say, hey, I'll take in kids between, like, 5 and 10, you know? And sometimes they'll be like, okay, here's, like, 4 5-year-olds, 4 6-year-olds, you know? Sometimes it's different ages. And again, you looked into this man and knew that his daughter did not go to school. Sergeant, you can arrest him now. He's breaking into school property. Okay, he has a daughter, so what? You knew he went to school, so that's stalking if we wanted to, and also breaking into the school. That's a federal crime, maybe, I don't know. But also, this man should be on a higher watch list. The interrogation doesn't work, and the two leave, pummel him, steal her back, and leave the country. You are a father. I would not give a shit about this. You know what? I bet you the sergeant would be like, oh, that's a cool cloud here. That sunset is so pretty. Like, just keep pushing him to, like, actually take this wolf or whatever. He's already just like, I don't fucking like this guy either. So I don't think he would care. Also, there's no cameras at this point in time, so what happened? Oh no, conveniently the end security footage got all erased. Whoa, that's crazy. Yeah. We're putting it under the table. These two are clearly friends. So, like, steal this wolf. Steal this wolf. So, here's where Michael comes into play. He starts a bushfire in the middle of the forest and runs away.
Wow!
This makes it so Dr. Monk can't get through so easily, backing them up in traffic. Now we take her. But the brothers have something better planned. Turn into full-on werewolves. Yippee! A tree has fallen in their path as poor Charles and Bruno are tasked with moving it. How, you may ask, because it's a giant fucking tree.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
And if you're wondering how, oh, my dear viewer, it's never explained how they were going to move it besides just lifting it up, breaking their back in half, and then just Also, they don't try to also, like, drive around it, so... Maybe they couldn't? I don't know. Shut up. Anyway, our werewolves show up, and... 121. Bright spikes of pain flashed behind his eyes, and he let out a groan. He rose up onto his elbow stand, rubbed the back of his head with his right hand. There was a huge bump there, but luckily the skin hadn't been broken. Lovely day we're having for elbow sand here. And this turns to a pure horror book, with the boys literally chasing and torturing the poor bastard. A few more strides and he'd slow to a quick walk, always reaching out for the next tree as if it were a lifeline. At last he stopped, leaning up against the trunk of a birch and sucking in the lungfuls of air like a drowning man who'd just broken the surface. The boys tell them to say that Monk is a liar and that they'll be off scot-free, or they'll find them. Yeah, I believe the teenage werewolves here, especially Argus here, I think he's a little bloodthirsty. It's a little scary how he's just like, hey, I'm gonna kill them. And the brothers are like, no, don't do that. No. And I'm like, guys. No, you shouldn't be hesitating. You should be like, hey, they're human. We're not. Well, to be fair, it's their sister, and they're clearly angry and teenagers, so. Teenagers, get the hell out of me. I don't know that song very well, so. Both are told to never say a damn thing about them, as Monk is the last one left. The best for last. The three began making their way to save their sister, only for Monk to point a gun at her, causing a standstill. He also talks about being turned if they injure him, but considering all the vampire lore seemed to change around here, it could be either, and I'm gonna go with no. Also, there are silver bullets, so it's extra spicy with this one. Also, they're like, yeah, it's silver bullets, so it's definitely gonna kill us. How do you know? Noble, Argus, Harlan, Tora, how do you know? It's never described that they personally know. Like, it's not like they grab onto silver and they go, except this is a guess, I guess. Unless, like, they're, like, werewolf brain kind of knows. But also, I'm like, a lot of people know, like, later on through trial and error. But also, I'm like, maybe they just kind of know the lore, too. That, like, werewolf silver. I don't know, maybe. Harlem realizes the gun isn't real and is just a flare gun as they attack. The gun goes off, hitting Noble in the shoulder/neck. Dr. Monk runs out of the van as the brothers save Tora, as the flare used earlier is thrown into the van, catching it on fire. The four run into the forest as Tora transforms back into her human form. While talking, they realize that Dr. Monk has recordings of her and they need to destroy them. Harlem takes Tora back home, I don't know why either, as Argus and Noble go after him. The van on fire, tapes no more. The goons also may have them. Potato, tomato. I don't know, but also, I don't know why it's not described what he has, so I guess he has a lab coat on, but cliche doctor. Argus and Noble get the tapes back, and poor Dr. Monk pisses himself. Classic. Everyone returns home, and we get some weird sort of character add-on for Harley, and that he's a hacker, able to hack into the school's computer and change grades, suspensions, and even tardies. The school would have record of suspensions, and the grades are kept in separate teacher logs, too. Anyway, we get this odd line. Noble slapped his big brother on the shoulder. We don't have to leave anyone behind, he said. Not in the forest, and not in the 11th grade. Is this sarcasm? Is Canadian grade different? These kids are 15, so after looking it up, I did find out that 15 is 10th grade. That could also be their last time in either middle school or the start of their high school year. Okay, thought I was losing my mind for a second, because I'm like, what do you mean you're last? What are you talking about? Okay, because I'm like, where is this going? Like, are you talking like you guys are not going back to school again? Are you guys gonna, like, drop out? What's going on? Are you guys planning to leave? Like, so, false alarm. 2 days later, Inside Weekly Entertainment arrives to Redstone to look into the tale of the werewolves Dr. Monk was talking about. Our list, Delphine, interviews him and is starting to think she's talking to a loon, as we finish off with an interview with Garrett in which he does insinuate that the doctor does plan to come back. Maybe. Alyssa says so it's probably true. Also, we get 3 more books, so I assume somewhere in between. I did appreciate this one. I did like this one. It was a fairly quick and easy read. And I did like the beginning. Just a werewolf walking into fire and then just gone. Just absolute gone. And I wish we got to know more about the kids and the parents' relationships, because the narrator makes it seem like they are so split with every human, including their parents. Like, they are all a tight-knit, like, group of werewolves. And that's kind of sad. Like, Martin describes them as odd. And he does suggest, like, he's truly kind of their only friend. But he doesn't really get any character either. I'm hoping the second one here, Lone Wolf here, gets them to some character. Especially for Martin. Because Martin's like, I don't know, guys. Like, my dad will kind of kill me if I do anything. They're like... But I would have loved, like, to see them have a back and forth more so with the parents and how they interact with each other. Because later on in this, like, with Argus and the mom, Phyllis, he has a more, like, he kind of seems like he's babied a little, but not too much. Not a favoritism, but, like, when she has to worry about him a little more. And again, like, same with the dad seems more like, hey, it's my only daughter, like, daddy's girl type of thing. But none of them have, like, a conscience in this book of, like, what they're thinking truly. We don't get personalities. We get descriptions like, Harlan is the runt of the litter, and Argus is the tallest, but Noble is the leader, and Tora is girl. So, that's all that. And she's, like, she's tough, and it seems like she's stronger than Harlan, but also she just does her own thing, so she's her own independent self. And again, we don't see much of them at school. We don't get to learn more about them before the stuff with Dr. Monk, because Dr. Monk, Charles, and Bruno have more personality. Like, I think Bruno has a girlfriend he wants to propose to. He wants a family. He does not like Dr. Monk. Neither does Charles. I don't think we really learn anything about Charles too much. Maybe we do. I don't remember. Dr. Monk is kind of insane. And he even thinks, like, oh, I'm going to get, like, if I get turned into a werewolf, that I'm going to get powers. I get to be on these TV shows. I get to prove the world that, like, fantasy is real. And then he kind of, like, hits himself, like, why am I thinking so stupidly? This is why I'm getting, like, attacked and I'm gonna die here. Because I'm thinking about the money. And I'm not thinking about, like, what could, like, the consequences are. So we get some character, but not for our main characters or, like, the parents. Again, I would have liked to have, like, Martin and Tora maybe have, like, a little interaction. Again, we have book 2 for that. This is book 1. Don't worry about me. I'm just flailing the book around here to see what sticks. Like, either way, I did enjoy myself. But, again, this is book 1 of book, like, 4 of them. So, maybe the TV show helps with that. Maybe because, again, there's 4 books that we get to kind of see them. From what I saw trailer-wise, I did like the werewolf eyes effect. Also, I don't know if they actually changed Argus's eyes. Because he has heterochromia. He has a green and a blue eye. Oh, they all look different. No shit. Not all siblings are gonna look the same, jackass. And also, if they're adopted. Anyway. Could be same mom. Could be same dad. Could be a same mom, same dad situation. Who knows? But anyway. I also like how we don't get, like, a perspective of how they were all, like, raised together. Because, again, they're, like, treated as, like, the weirdo kids. As if, like, they've been separated from everyone for years. We also don't get told, like, hey, when did they go to school? Especially because I'm sure Phyllis especially would be like, they're kind of werewolf children. Are we even okay to be like, oh, yeah, you definitely can go to school? Again, maybe book 2, 3, and 4 we may. I don't know. But those are just the thoughts that are going in my head because I want to know more. That's my thing is, I want to know more. Finished Lone Wolf. What a... Do you know how in, like, you know, movies, you get, like, the great first movie and then the second one is not up to par? Yeah, this is that. This is basically the 90s equivalent of Save the Trees, Save the Forest. And then, like, we have sprinkled in there, oh, Argus is literally bloodthirsty. Tora is wanting to be the lead in this play. And they're all backseated for this logging issue. Mind you, is it an issue? Yeah. But how it's written, made it seem like it was gonna be like such a bigger thing, because we got like multiple characters introduced. Like, it was gonna be Dr. Monk types of evil. And there's no real villain in this. We get introduced to a villain later on that could be like either book 3 or 4. It's like a petty girl type drama. And then the stuff that there is like a bully in here that he's easily defeated. Oh, and I'll get to that too. Because, boy, did you build up that Harlan is going to stand up for himself. That he's going to be this great, like, fighter. He's gonna finally stand up for himself. And it doesn't happen. And I don't know why Balcom does not, why he did not, for the life of me, why he did not just focus on the kids instead of, like, also maybe having this deforestation stuff. Because, truthfully, the first one was like, okay, they're just here to save their sister, maybe we'll learn that. No. You get maybe 2 character add-ons for 1. And the other ones are, one likes to be in place. One is questioning if he wants to actually be a leader now. Half the time, too, they also almost forget Tora to bring her, like, to, like, these events. Mind you, what if she truly just said, no, I don't want to do it? Like, truthfully, what if she said no? That would have been, like, a good character arc. Do we have that? No. I have some grievances with this book. Also, I'm going to read this back here. Hold on. For it's only a matter of time before Harlan pounces on the high school nemesis, revealing his feral nature to all, before Tora shares the pack's secret with the classmates she's got a major crush on, before a ruthless Argus gets fed up with trying to be a good student and disappear into the forest forever. As for Noble, he's struggling to keep the pack together, all while fighting to save their forest home from corporate interests threatening to destroy it. You have one of those, Mama, that comes into fruition. Tora, honestly, the stuff with Michael should have been first book, number 1. I skimmed through book 3. I know it happens. Harlan does, it's not even the school nemesis, it's just his nemesis. And even then, yeah, it's an issue, but it's not like a, to be fair, should have scared him too, but you know. And the stuff with Tora, no, it's not even brought up. I think maybe, like, once. As, like, a very faint thought, and it's gone. And Noble does not try to even be like, I'm losing the pack. He has, like, 2 thoughts of, like, oh, what if I wasn't supposed to be the pack leader? And then it's just like, oh, I couldn't control the situation because that happened when I was fucking born, so I have no control over this. So, let's start reading before I go on a whole rant. Our 16-year-old werewolves are running in the woods. Harlem is now a few inches taller than Dora because that apparently was an issue that never came to fruition, as Argus has become Vladimir Todd and has a sudden craving for blood. This is generally a thing. It is talked about through this entire book. He's bloodthirsty. He wants to run and hunt things. It's not questioned. It's not talked about in a serious tone. It is brought up that this kid, 16-year-old kid, mind you, has suddenly craved blood. And what do we do about that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So why introduce it? Because truthfully, the main issue is he wants to be out of here. You'll see how that turns out too later. He swears he's never eaten any of the animals around here, but that's doubtful for how much he talks about it. He ends up being left behind while wandering what's beyond the forest as he sees a naked man in the forest. Another shifter! Great! He disappears as Noble corrals him back. Rant. These 4 had been around humans for a long time, basically since birth, and they all think that they're more primal. at some point in time, it starts getting a little worrying that they don't see humans as friends or even related to them or on any scale, and pretend they're just people to associate with from time to time. Like, Argus talks about leaving and does not think about, hey, mom and dad would miss me, or just exploring the world. Nope, just the forest and nothing more. Like, the narrator so desperately wants you to think that these kids only think in, I'm different, I'm a werewolf. Now, mind you, getting told this every year, sure, but they choose to also not be around or talk to other kids. Okay, they got Michael. We don't see them interact much. Tora is the only one in near the end that they interact with Michael. And when they interact with him at school, it just seems like Michael comes up and sits at their table because it just seems like, hey, the normal seat I sit at, it's been taken up. I'm going to sit here with you guys. I would like to hear these conversations with these people. Okay, you got another character, 2 other characters later on that they don't get along with. You want to talk to anyone else? What about the kid you sit next to? How about a conversation with them? What about the teachers? We don't see maybe one other dude that they talk to that's outside of the circle in the town. It's so infuriating that we are not in these kids' heads, and it's just the narrator telling us that these kids feel like that. Do they? Because it doesn't seem like it half the time that these kids they're all different. One is more primal and one seems to be more human. And again, it's the bloodthirsty and the girl. So, what about the other two? It is so frustrating that these characters do not have character that I could say, you know what, I could see why Argus wants to do this. I could see why Harlan feels this way. I don't. Because it's Noble either talking for them, or it's the narrator saying these kids feel this way, or Noble's had this feeling for a minute. Has he? I've not been in his head to know this. The first book didn't even tell me, hey, when he was fighting Dr. Monk and his goons, that he was like going ham to where Noble and the others had to stop him. It's not. And later on, that little tidbit I just had there, that's thrown out the window. Our other pack members have some issues going on themselves. Is it Harlem and Harlan? Because it's Harlan. Did I say Harlem? Oopsie. Anyway, Harlan is being picked on by Jack McKinnon and won't fight back because that's a no-no for the pack too, as Argus suddenly shows up, which pisses Harlan off as the principal comes around to break up the fight. Harlan asks him not to butt in anymore, but clearly Jack is a little afraid of him, so maybe that's a good thing. Side note, Jack is only talked about by his last name weirdly, and I don't know why. Near the end, he's called by Jack. But during this whole time, it's just McKinnon, and I don't get that either. That's the same with Ranger Brock. Because the kids call him Ranger Brock. They don't call him Dad. They don't call him Garrett. I don't get it either. It's not like, hey, Mr. President, and that's the last name, or secretary last name, you know. It's just Ranger Brock. It's not even at the home. It's not even his wife calls him by his name. Which, where the fuck is she at in all this? A good question. Shut up. Besides them, though, a woman named Donna Houston sees a suspicious car drive by and calls it in. Apparently, the man, Tyler Aaron Cabello, is looking to cut some trees. And might I say, this wildlife preservation must have a no-cutting policy, right? Apparently not, in getting approval from the mayor or anyone else besides the chief forestry. You would have to go through that, but apparently not, and we start doing it anyway. Oh, and the reason why we're needing to do this is to get to some houses and roads made up north, when you could go around where the main roads are. Do you see my issue here? Oh boy, and does that not come to fruition either? There's a lot of stuff that's just there for convenience, and it makes it seem like it's a bigger issue when, again, I will point out how this could have been solved in under 2 days. When in reality, I think it takes like maybe a month. I don't know. The timeline here seems weird because we also don't get an indication of when this book is and book 1 is. So they do talk about the stuff with Tora getting kidnapped, but I don't know how long that was. Could have been a few days. Could have been a month. We have no clue. They technically can't arrest him. Private property owned by Redstone County. Next, Garrett and the sergeant leave as Donna is just as pissed that nothing's happening. Oh no! Hey, look, the 90s called. They want their deforestation plot back. They say Donna should start a protest, which, yeah, you should. And she does just that, calling up a lot of people in order to try and stop the logging company. The pack hears about the news and is rightfully pissed off. This leads Argus to tell him who he saw in the woods as they just brush him off.
Fucking people.
I can see why they all start to split off from one another. This gets Noble thinking, and he goes to find a famous actor, William Green, to kind of be the face of the protest as it's a smashing hit. Argus tells Noble that he's thinking of dropping out of school and finding another pack. Why? Well, he feels different and wants to live in the forest. You're 16, graduate school, then you could do that shit. Maybe, I don't know, talk to your parents about these feelings. I don't know, maybe talk to the rest of your pack about this in general. Tor's got her own drama with some play as she wants to lead with Martin being the love interest, in which the role ends with the two kissing, but another girl, Maria, taunts her, saying she'll be the main lead.
Shut up, Meg.
When are these kids gonna punch the people that cause them stress? Maria? Yes. Jack? Yes. What's stopping you? Oh no! A week of detention. Like, truthfully, that'll get them to shut up. Less stress, be on your merry way. No one would want to mess with you because now you're willing to fight back. I'm gonna be very honest. This Save the Forest stuff is boring. I don't like the pack suddenly needing to want to be separated when we know little to nothing about them. Like, the stuff with the bullying and sort of romance should have been introduced first book, while also adding the stuff with Dr. Monk. I get why this is here, and I do think it's good for the standing up for what's right, especially on the land that's more than likely in animal territory and Indian territory. But all the stuff with William is either really cringy or a nothing burger. So the stuff with William talking about spirits of the forest gets them thinking, and this means werewolf shenanigans. Good, honestly, make it harder for them. Make the taxpayers steal from you. Oh, you know, or you could also steal the machinery, sell it for scrap, win. Like, truthfully, just start damaging stuff so it takes them longer to do anything. And that way, they'll have to start asking around or leave. But who am I to say? The four flip a few cars before running off, which I would have allowed them to see four werewolves running off because no one would have believed you. Here's another thing that's been bothering me. We don't know a thing about these kids. Oh, they're weird. Oh, they're different. Okay, what else? The narrator is doing nothing to help them. In the tidbits we do see, is just pushed at us, and we're expected to have a reaction when, or Noble or the parents would have one, but we don't see it, or it's brushed aside for everything else that ultimately is just filler, aka the stuff I've been ranting about since the beginning, and it continued to get worse when this drama comes up later. And we already know how the story goes. The forest is saved and the packet still stays together, but like, why all this? Why no character development? Like, this should be at the point where we question why Argus wants to leave and or see he's wanting to be a lone wolf. I mean, he was alpha material, but only look-wise. Well, with all the generic character trait, you would think that the narrator or one of the siblings would talk about what's happening or why or what they're all feeling. There is one point in the story, and it's for a sentence that Tora is too distracted reading a script to care about the protest, and another scene where we, the readers, think she's going to be left out while the boys go car flipping. No, that would mean character and plot. We can't have that. On their way home, Argus feels a strong sense of bloodlust and an odd presence. Following that, he realizes he's crazy lost and that the trail that he was following led up into the trees. Another werewolf, now pinning him to the ground, asks who he is and why he's here. The other three siblings come out in their werewolf forms and attack as Argus quickly shouts that Filion was a member of their parents' pack. Their parents were Odin and Mora, essentially living in the forest with Odin being the alpha. Things are kind of confusing as Filion says their dad was smart for working a flashlight, which leads them to believe that they never went outside the forest, to which I ask why, to which the author has this to say in return. Noble looked to the ground, beginning to feel uneasy about what Filion was saying. It all seemed too good to be true. Their father was the smartest, fastest, toughest wolf in all of British Columbian forest, and their mother was the most beautiful, refined, blah, blah, blah. Good to see that you care about what your parents look like and how your parents were, and this person who seems like a brother to them has all the information, and you seem to care so much about that, Noble. What a great leader! Filion gives us some devastating news. 1. While giving birth to them, the forest grew too hot as their father chose to stay behind and save our 4 pack members, only to try and get them to safety. 2. Fillion stayed with their mother as she gave birth to their other sibling who sadly passed away along with their mom and dad. 3. Fillion was there for all of this before being forced to leave. Fillion is happy to tell the stories of their parents, and do we get to hear them?
You serious?
Okay, so let me get this straight. Odin carried these werewolves through the fire. How and where? Because Garrett sees this wolf, then suddenly he goes through the forest after all of this huge devastation happens and just pops. So, how? It wasn't even like, oh, it's wolf form, the werewolf form. Like, where was he carrying them? Is it just like, oh, okay, the mom just orbs them? No, I don't get it either. Or was it Fillion, or was Odin walking through the flames while their mom was giving birth behind, like he walked through? It's not explained. Fillion doesn't add in any information about this, so it's just like, or was it like how sloths and chimpanzees just hold on to their mothers for dear life? I don't know. That sounds painful and also terrifying to think about. Fillion says the 4 weren't ready to hear the truth, but are now. Why? Why do books always say this? You knew that they were here and did nothing to set the record straight, even as their friend, or even talk to Garrett. Not even a, hey, I'm taking them away, just a training thing, or even the last living member. Are there none of these packs left? Who are they to you? Uncle, cousin, just a member? It's not explained, so I guess fuck me, I guess. Oh, I knew your parents. Okay, are you their friend? Are you their uncle? Are you, like, a distant cousin? Are you, like, technically related because you're werewolves? What are you to them? Because, again, you knew who these kids were, and you did nothing to try and talk to them or even be like, hey, let me show you the wolf way. As, like, a, hey, you're gonna find out later that we're all related. That doesn't happen, so who cares? Fillion can disappear from this story too altogether. I don't even know if he's in the other ones. The 4 head to school only for Jake to want to fight Harlan, and it seems to be going that way until Argus steps in again. This time to say that the fight will be happening after school tomorrow.
Yeah, boy!
Noble has a plan. I don't know why either. Just beat the fucker in the woods and eat him. Saves a lot of time and energy on everyone's behalf. So, you would think that maybe they would help Harlan train to fight and keep his composure so that he wouldn't turn full werewolf on them. But no, we get into more talk of the deforestation. That's what I've been saying this entire time. Guys, this stuff with the school is so interesting. We may have some character development, but what about William? What about Donna, who we only saw that one time? What about Boomer? They head to the area where the loggers are sleeping over and pull the generator wires so they have no power. They begin scaring the shit out of them. Could have told you that. Could have told you to do that beforehand. Oh wait, I have been. Anyway, after the fun, Argus just isn't feeling the vibes and wants to talk with Fillion. Maybe even be with him.
No.
They have to tell Garrett though, and it's he's taking it pretty hard, but the narrator makes it seem like the kids only see Garrett and Phyllis as placeholders until they plan to leave. Like, being raised human would retain some human-like characteristics, but they don't. Or Tora does, but none of the others share or care to tell their feelings, or some just come off as selfish acts, or it just comes off as selfish feelings on Argus's part especially, and the other pack members just shrug their shoulders like, you know, it is what it is. Like, it's truly weird how, like, we don't get any time to be like, Tora thinks this, Harlan thinks this, Argus thinks this. Truly, we don't. And that is the most disappointing part of this, is I don't know shit about these characters. I know what they go through. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how they're thinking. And it's weird. And it continues to get weird the longer I talk about it and I think about it, because why? Why don't we know shit about these characters? Especially, wouldn't Tora be a little more fearful, especially being kidnapped and having these electroshock stuff on her? It's not even talked about. So it's almost like you could put up pieces of paper and write their names and be like, yeah, that's Tora. That's Noble. Those are the characters I know and love. Argus finds Phalion and says that he wants to be with him in an alpha to top that off. To this, Phalion smacks the shit out of him, and he even loosens some of his teeth with how hard he hits him, and says he should go back to be with the humans, and that he'd live a long life there and not in the woods. Argus leaves, but Phalion says he can always visit. The fight with Harlan and Jack happens. It's lackluster since they fight in the dark room, and we don't see or hear anything interesting. Like, this is truly sad. It's just basically like oh fuck, he got hit in the face, and then he walks out. Jack walks out, and he's fucking blistered as shit. Can you see? And that's like near 30 pages left of the book or something like that. And I'm just sitting here going, what? You made this fight seem like it's gonna be such a big deal. And it's not. I can only fight you in the dark, because otherwise I won't be able to fight you in the daytime, because I'm shy. We get more POVs of our pack members hitting the loggers than an intriguing high school fight, which will lead to some character growth. Speaking of loggers, the pack end up hanging the head honcho of the logging company, and he quits, clearly shaken, and vows to even quit logging. Noble nodded. He found it hard to think of Tora as being cute, pretty, good-looking, or sexy. It was even harder to think of her like that when she could transform herself into a towering capture that was half human, half wolf, capable of tearing full-grown men apart with her bare hands. But Noble had to admit, Tora was developing into a very attractive young woman. He felt proud as he watched her up on the stage making use of her newly found beauty. But more than good looking, Tora was talented. Noble knew that she had a passion for acting, that she was to try it out and see if she was any good. Watching her up on stage made it clear that she was a natural. Her smile, body language, tone of voice, and speech all seemed right. That's your sister, you nasty. That's Noble. That's your pack leader, folks. Tora and Martin perform their play, Kissing Even, as none other than William Green is going to be the person judging. Of course, Tora gets the main female lead, but Michael doesn't. She apologizes, but Michael is only jealous that she'll be kissing another guy, too, even when she says that it means nothing, and she clearly likes him. Maria, on the other hand, is fuming, saying that she knows that Tora got the part because her brothers had been talking with William and thinks she's suspicious. Tora wants to tell Noble, who she forgot was even close by, because they decide to just forget about Maria and go off and celebrate with some food. So Dr. Monk and Maria are definitely going to work together in the near future. Dear God, was this a slog. My main issue with all of this is, why should I care? And author, you didn't make me care about them. You made it seem like these characters are so one-dimensional that they are just here to do whatever and move on from this situation. There is no I think one point. There is no, hey, these characters are clearly shaken by the stuff that happened with Dr. Monk. There is no talk about, hey, I feel bloodlust and blood hungry from Argus. There is no hey, Tora doesn't want to do this, or maybe that the boys start to exclude her because she seems so distant or distracted. Harlan kind of has the fight back with Argus, hey, don't get in my battle sort of thing, but it's brushed aside very quickly. The stuff with William, it's cringy, it doesn't matter. Garrett doesn't try to help or do anything about the deforestation. The sheriff doesn't get calls upon calls, and he's there all the time. Normally at that too, hey, the loggers could hire police, or maybe the mayor would come down and be get rid of these guys. We're getting through the deforestation, because they would just want to get another way to the roads. Which even then, I know nothing about where this place is located. I don't know where Redstone is. I know it's in Canada. I don't know. I'm not from there, so I don't know anything about that. I don't know where we're located, really. And then even then, there's a lot of weird focus on hey, Dogface. Hey, Dogface. Hey, Tora, you have a mustache because you're hairy. And then it's congratulations, everyone has peach fuzz. Everyone has unibrow. Everyone has this, that, and the third. Everyone grows hair. Sometimes hair is darker on some people. Sometimes it's almost white on others. I don't know what you want from me besides... Oh, and also the lone wolf. maybe it's filling. Is that it? Was that it? Was that it? I don't know. So this one, I kind of skimmed through it a little bit, and Michael's a little more in it, so yay! Even though he also doesn't have a personality, so dear Lord, what could happen in this one? Oh boy, one of the members gets ill. I actually don't know. I'm hoping that book 3 is better than book 2 by a landslide, because I'm getting worried. Because again, the last book is 150, this is 180. I'm a little afraid that there's nothing gonna happen. But considering that maybe more stuff happens, especially when your pack leader is sick, and maybe Argus will step up, maybe it'll be Harlan. I don't know. Because again, maybe they'll be 17 this time. I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna be in this one. But either way, I still don't like this book. I still think I rated it too highly. Because the more I keep thinking about it, the more angrier I get. And I'm just saying, hey, you know what you should have done? Scaring them to leave. Because once William brings up the spirit stuff, start pushing it more. Start getting in their faces. Start making them scared more. It either should have been, honestly, either true deforestation, and that's it. Or true, like, this is the school stuff, and that's it. I don't think we needed the deforestation stuff because it does not add anything to the plot. It doesn't. Because what I told you, okay, the forest is going to be constructed. They stop it. Nothing else helps. No mayors, no sheriff, no nothing to make it seem like, oh my gosh, if we don't stop this now, like, this whole thing is like this is drama. This is like where people are going to like live or die type of shit. No, it's not. There are no stakes here either. There is no stakes. Like, truthfully, there was none. Because werewolf stops it. That's the plot. Werewolf come, werewolf stop. The stuff at Fillion too, maybe he would try and stop them and say, hey, you shouldn't be making your presence known to humans. Like, he starts putting in their heads that, hey, other pack members have died this way. And now, mind you, they know about this because, I forget who was shot. I think it was Harlan was shot in the first one. Like, they know, but it's also like, so, you know. On to the next one before I can rant about this all year long. Remember how I said in the second one that just kind of dragged on, there was no character development, it was just a nothing burger of a book? Yeah, this one had a lot of that. Had a lot of character, had a lot of growth from all these, especially from our girl Tora. Beautiful book. Actually, probably the best one. And then we got book 4 here, who has 150 plus the stuff with Edo von Balkum, and we also got the TV show to review. So ha ha ha. Honestly, I could not put this one down. This one, I was just on the edge of my seat. Like, I was truly like, okay, there's fights happening, there's missing children, there's wolf battles. Like, this shit was actually entertaining to the point where the juicy stuff that's going to happen later on, I'm excited for. Especially because it's not like, oh my gosh, a human got bitten. Now we got a wolf who got bitten. That is now turning into a werewolf. So this should be exciting. Read like this. Also, I look bundled up really badly. I'm not. I got one of those long kitty cat thingies. Oh, I just realized that this has a... We started a holiday dance in December. Also, adding this in, I think between book 2 and 3 is a couple of months, but between what happened with Tora and to book 2, they still say a couple months. Again, I don't know if it's like 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. We're still unsure, but this one is clearly like, it's been almost a month or 2, because we went from, it may be like at the end of summer to like maybe the beginning of fall, and now to clearly it's December. Like, we're like good smack dab into the winter season. So throwing that out there. Timeline here is still kind of wherever, but again, I think they're like 15, 16 still. They may be 16 now, because it doesn't say, hey, we're gonna graduate. It just sounds like they're still like, okay, senior year comes, what are we gonna do? You know, like, Argus is probably gonna be living in the woods, you know, that sort of thing. That's from, like, book 2, though, so, again, I don't know anything. I really look like the sweater is gonna, like, yeah, it looks like that. It just does. I keep looking over and I'm like, I look like I'm being swallowed by this. It's so comfortable, though. It's really comfy. Harlan goes to get a drink as none other than Jack McKinnon bumps into him, clearly looking for a fight. It doesn't happen, but he does ominously stare at him as Harlan dances with a girl, Kiara, from his computer class. Noble takes a drink from Harlan's drink and comments that it tastes funny.
Duly noted and ignored.
He throws up in the bathroom and walks into a very drastic change. Maria Abrazos? I don't know how to say that. I apologize. Her sister, Angelina, has gone missing. Tracks leading to the forest are all that remain as Noble questions who could up and abduct someone to the forest. Bears, mountain lions, wolves, man. They head towards the woods and find human and animal prints. By a tree is a large streak of red, and on one of those bushes, Angelina's scarf. Everyone is ushered inside as Harlan tells Noble he sends around 4 to 6 wolves as Argus and Harlan head to look for Angelina. Sometime later, a search team is made but is quickly halted as Angelina herself walks out and is very confused at what's going on. She admits to leaving the library she was supposed to meet Maria at and went to a boy's house.
Boy, if you don't
But we must remember that Maria is the same girl from the play and was upset that she didn't get the main lead and Tora did. Everyone laughs as everything seems to be just a big misunderstanding, and even comedically so, to which she lashes out at Tora and Noble, but everyone else was too. It's very much like a, hey, my enemy is making fun of me, so I'm going to lash out at them, and everyone else is just kind of bystanders in this. I mean, it is comical how, like, Angelina was like, well, I didn't want to sit at the library where my sister sucked face with another boy. I get it. But also, why the fuck did you leave, you little shithead? Also, it's not clear how old Angelina is because they say she's like 50 to 60 pounds. I don't know how old that is because me as a child, I was very skinny. I'm going to guess, because, what is it? Maria and the gang are probably like 15, 16. I'm going to say she's like a preteen, maybe 13 at best. I don't know. What do you need? Also, the girl's dad show up, and no one tries to tell him to stop trying to discipline Maria in front of everyone, but takes his daughter away as Noble still isn't feeling so hot. He's slowly turning into his wolf form and also trying to fight it. At home, he seems to be getting worse as Taurus says maybe they should call Dr. Monk.
Huh?
The logical person is to call Fillion, and we say his name last. You mean the guy who is like you, who maybe could have an idea of what's going on with this kid? We say his name last. We see the guy who abducted your sister, some vet, maybe doctor person, and then we say, you know, the guy who's werewolf. These kids are not thinking straight because, yes, their brother is sick, but also common sense left the building and clearly went across stream. They find him and confirm everyone's theory that he has been poisoned by something called taint of argentinium, so silver. Fillion says that the way he can be cured is to drink heaps of water and allow Mother Earth to take its course.
What?
Fun fact, that's a Warhammer reference. I know nothing of it, so I'm just going to move on. Also, they say argent is French when argentinium is Latin for silver. Who's right? I don't care. We're in the French part of Canada, so I don't know anything about that. All I know is like silver in your body is pretty bad. So how did silver get in his soda? How did silver get into Harlan's soda? You'll find out later. Sadly, nothing at school seems to be showing them anything really related to Noble getting sick, as Maria comes in and goes.
You think you're better than me? What?
Maria is for some reason obsessed with how 4 siblings look nothing alike, but are adopted by the ranger. Fraternal. It's called fraternal. Just tell her that your parents died in the forest fire and move on. Honestly, why does she even care? She loses the school play and now is up their asses. Kind of figured Jack would be, but like, here's the thing too. I still do, 3 friends who are triplets. They are not identical whatsoever. It's called fraternal. Now, mind you, they probably do have some similarities to each other, just not like blaring similarities. And here's the other thing. My mother and my uncle also are fraternal. But the only thing that you could say, oh, they look similar, is because they look both like a combination of my papa and my nana. But at the same time, again, these four are adopted. It's called fraternal. We learned that term from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. No, but you learned about that pretty early on, that twins who don't look alike are called fraternal. Even though you are twins born at the same time, you know, it's just essentially, you don't look alike. I still don't get why she was so obsessed with trying to find out that how two people could adopt 4 children at once. Sometimes foster carers try to keep siblings together, even if they're of different ages. So again, 4 fraternal kids got given to the ranger and his wife. No one else is seeming to have a problem and not clicking that these kids were most likely put together. Even then, do you know how common it is for people to find out that they were born the same day? I had that at school. There are so many other people that were born in September at my school that seem to overlap. Oh, I was born the 20th. Oh, I was born the 18th, you know? Not that hard to be these kids are siblings. Even then, I'm now realizing, hey, everyone seems to not know what fraternal twins mean. But also, do they really look that different? I mean, Argus just has heterochromia. And everyone calls them dogface, so I guess they're all similar in that way. She's so interested, in fact, that she watches their house for hours until Tora, Harlan, and Argus walk outside naked and see them transform into wolves and rush into the forest. Great. Now what? People won't believe her, so she needs a way to do that. Camera, which she does do. Of course, with this newfound information, she and her little posse taunt Tora and Argus, to which I say, you guys call them dogface all the time. Why would they be stumped if you kept calling them werewolves? Oh my god, you're hairier than normal, you fucking werewolf. Oh no, you thought of a new word. Like lycanthrope. You're so quirky. The others say she's nuts and still upset about losing the lead role, but everyone at lunch is just staring at them. Again, wolf face to werewolf is not too far off the mark. Also, why would anyone believe her? We literally had a few days ago that she was being made fun of for, losing her sister when she was doing something she clearly was not supposed to be doing. Jack and his goons corner Harlan and begin asking if he's sick, to which Harlan's confused for a moment, putting two together that Jack put something in his drink that Noble drank and got sick from. So what did he put in it? Stuff in the photography's darkroom. Silver nitrate.
What?
This is the Google thing. This is from Google. If I'm wrong, I'm smart. I Googled it. Ingesting silver nitrate can cause severe life-threatening effects, including severe burns to the mouth and esophagus, abdominal pain, vomiting, diarrhea, and convulsions. It can also lead to, how the fuck do you say this? Methemoglobinemia. It's clearly not how it's pronounced, but it's the way I am. A condition where the blood's ability to carry oxygen is reduced, causing symptoms like a blue-gray skin color and difficulty breathing. So even if he wasn't a werewolf, my dude would be lifeline to the hospital. Again, any amount of silver is no bueno. Harlan goes to punch Jack, but is stopped. I would have let him, but then again, Jack deserves worse punishment. He poisoned the kid because he not only didn't like him, but lost a fight. So this little tidbit is added once more. If a werewolf breaks the skin of a human, they'll turn into one. Do they? Do we ask Fillion? I've heard of giving blood or a werewolf biting a person, but never if he scratches you. I don't know, but either one, just kill him. Oh, hi, Argus. How are you? He stops Harlan for beating him up, to which he catches him up to speed, and Argus, while staring at Jack, mind you, says that Noble should fight him, and if he can't, aka, if Noble dies, Harlan can kill him. I like that plan. Dear God, do I wish that book kind of went through this, because there are so many points in this where it so close tries to be like, okay, we're gonna go that route, but it teeters on wanting to do it and not wanting to. And I don't know where the line is going to be crossed and how it can be crossed. Because later on you'll see like, hey, some stuff happens to where, it nearly happens. The stuff with Dr. Monk, I don't think they were going to kill him. But this stuff with Jack, I don't think anyone would argue that these kids were wrong. Because this kid was he, number one, tried to kill your brother. You can't fight fire with fire. Well, guess what, bitch? I'm making a forest fire, and I'm going to be standing in the middle of it as it burns everything else around me and leaves me last. That's my thought. That's my fan theory. Again, kill Jack. No one would mind. Because even later on, no one seemed to have a problem with Jack just disappearing. And I don't know what that says about this town or Jack per se, but that's bad. We cut back to Noble, who thankfully is getting better, as they theorize that the reason he's getting better is because of his age, Phil's fury on flushing out all the chemicals used in water, and that the silver in the classes aren't fully pure silver / he didn't drink a lot of it. If it were me, I, the ranger, would call the sergeant and would be snitching hard. Especially because, mind you, you don't have to take a kid to a hospital to be like, hey, my son is severely ill. Because again, park ranger, and same with Phyllis has some knowledge of like healing and health too. So who's to say that they couldn't be like, hey, we tried our best. Noble's not getting better. Sergeant, we've been, for a little bit here. Let's go snatch us a kid. Even then, Jack is fatherless, so who knows what'll happen to him. Actually, I don't know if he's fatherless or not, but he's just, he's a little shithead. So I assume he's fatherless. Or maybe motherless. Either way, this kid's full of shit. Anyway, they brainstorm maybe leaving, but it quickly boils down to just be careful and we're staying since we did so much to keep the force safe. Make them believe in whatever they want. Maria attempts to take pictures of the pack, only getting shitty shots, and returns back to collect her sister, finding her gone. Garrett is alerted and Maria admitted to losing her while behind their home. The three roll their eyes but say that they'll find her sister. Tora lends Maria a hand and says that they'll be there to help her, to which she is angry but slowly says that she's been nothing but mean to them and was jealous that she got the lead. While on better terms, it's very clear that she saw them shifting without admitting it. That's mostly because Michael is there. At this point, just just tell Michael what the hell is going on and move on with this, because I think Michael is, a little, he's a little airhead, but like, I think you kind of put him down more than what you think you should, because you'll see later on. The three say that they'll go look for her as Michael and Maria stay behind. They end up finding tracks that indicate her being lost and even being dragged at times along with the wolf prints, but the pack can't say if they're because they were watching her or trying to attack her. Philion appears saying he did see Angelina head north along with the 4 wolves who are tracking her cause she's easy prey. Cool, show us the way. They hear a scream and head that way as Philion disappears.
Fucking people.
He literally says, oh, it's the nature of life. My brother in Christ, there are you plus 4 other pack members can stop this. You know what also happens in the circle of life? Other animals intervene to save others. Suck my robot balls. Noble goes to leave and help search, but Phyllis says no and says to stay for her. He stays, but I don't understand this sudden turn. I get it, mother figure, but this is just like a life or death sort of thing that she's sprouting onto us. Sure, he's not well, but she's acting like him going out there, going to look for Angelina, will be the last time she'll see him. Which is odd that this very touching scene is brought up like this, when I understand she's worried for him, but it's brought up so bleakly. She's not very much in the second book, or hardly in this one, and suddenly she's like, please stay for me, please stay for me. And I'm like, yeah, he's sick. He's kind of already almost out the woods. Like, he's got, like, some patches on his face, and maybe, like, a part of his hand is still kind of fucked up. And I think she's more worried that, like, if he starts moving again, that the silver is going to go through his body and then make him worse. Or, like, he won't be able to fully transform, which, again, I understand, but, like, stay for me? How about just, hey, stay? I understand you're worried about your siblings, but believe in them because you are their leader. They have someone to look up to, and they're not stupid. They know what to do. They've been around you as you've been around them just as long. So believe in them, and maybe that would kind of put his headspace through. Stay for me is such a, like, hey, we're on the battlefield. Like, we're ready to start waving the white flag. It's very bizarre how she puts it. And mind you, Noble is like, okay, I'll stay. Very much calm demeanor, but I'm like, Phyllis, you got something on your mind there, girl? I mean, they're not all ears, but someone is definitely you need to talk to someone. Because that sounds like something else is going on that's not being discussed. The pack finds Angelina and is surrounded by 4 wolves. Tora, now taking Noble's leadership role, tells Harlan to distract the searchers while Tora and Argus attack. They must be quick, especially since the searchers are so close by. The Silver Grey yelped in pain as Argus clamped down hard on the wolf's flesh and bone. The smell of blood was in the air now, and Tora knew that if a wolf could be turned as easily as a human, then the process of transformation had begun now in the heat of the battle. The wolf twisted and yanked its hind leg, and with a tearing of bleeding flesh, the leg came free of Argus's jaw. Blood flew, and Tora could feel it splatter onto her snout, then taste its copper bitterness on her tongue. It's a wee bit dark, but also, I don't think I've ever really heard, like, oh, if a wolf is bitten by a werewolf, they'll turn. I'm excited to see what happens next. The battle is a bloodbath, but Argus wins as the wolves run away. Angelina passes out from exhaustion, the cold, and being a little injured. They need to get her to safety fast, as she may have an hour at best, as the nearest hospital is 2 hours away. Tora tells Argus to go to the hospital and she'll follow while Harlan gets him some clothes to pretend like he found her and had taken her into the hospital. Harlan, for some reason, wants to argue, but, like, time is of the essence, motherfucker. Like, we gotta go now! Why are you trying to be like, I don't know, man, I just, you want Argus to walk in there butt-ass naked? There'd be more questions, honestly. Start moving, kid. Tora and Argus make it to the hospital and hear some rustling from behind, believing it to be Harlan, but Maria instead. Tora tries to explain, but she doesn't care, taking Angelina to the hospital. Oh, and Harlan shows up a little while later. Good job, dude. And Noble is better. Angelina begins to recount that a werewolf saved her, but no one believes her. But Maria is quiet about everything until she admits Argus helped her over here, and Maria just took her into the hospital. They see Argus in furry clothing and conclude that he's the werewolf, as everything seems to be going back to semi-normal. Noble is heading to school tomorrow and tells Tora that she did a good job at being their leader. And just when you could forget about Jack, he walks up to Noble and wants a clean fight. It nearly happens as Maria punches him. Everyone now officially done with his bullshit. Noble thanks her and they even go out for some drinks. I still don't trust her, but whatever. Jack is also in some trouble since he stole from the photography room. I still would have had his ass in jail for poisoning the kid, but you know. Tora tells Michael that they're werewolves, and he's like, I kind of suspected that, but not my story to tell. Also, they've been dating. Like, I don't know when, but I'm guessing since the play. Would have been nice to know. Anyway, they kiss and head to the donut shop to meet up with the others as we end off with the wolf Argus had injured becoming a werewolf. This one is the most exciting. Like, the most stuff happens here, and I'm so, like, it makes up for book 2. I would never read book 2 again, but this one is still the most interesting. Also, Fillion is useless. Anyway, in all honesty, I don't know what book 4 could bring in, because again, we have maybe Dr. Monk, maybe Maria kind of backstabbing. Of course, Jack could be coming back or maybe trying to fuck with them. Definitely that wolf, because again, I'm sure he senses like that Argus, who Argus is. But then again, what else could happen? Because again, we don't know shit about their parents. We don't know who started that fire either, so maybe that'll come into play. I don't know what book 4 could be either, because I'm thinking of like ways that it could get like extremely worse for our kids. And in truth, what could happen? Also, mine is like disgusting. Can you even see it? It's disgusting. I blame this one over here. Let me read the back. No, I'm not. How I can describe this book is essentially Welcome to the Argus Show, starring the dickhead, also known as Argus. I do not understand how we can go from what I am going to argue is the best book out of this whole series, which is trying to find a girl who just goes missing, Noble getting poisoned, and then like having Argus go up against these wolves, nearly killing the leader, but like having like the human side of himself click, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna kill him, but I realize what I'm doing now. Like, that whole thing was super intense. Like, I read that in 2 days, okay? That's how intense this book was. This one was not. There were many times where I'm very interested in what happens, but then it gets to be playing the Argus show. Argus does get his comeuppance, and he does get his karma. But it's also one of those things that I feel like this leads up to another book that may or may not have been in the works. How this book ends, it seems like there's just gonna be another one. Maybe like the last one was like them graduating and then like truly seeing how they live in the world and how their lives are different. But it's not. There's a lot of still stuff that I think should have been put in here. Like Michael Martin kind of seeing what Tor's wolf form looks like. Maybe like it's all 4 of them plus Maria working together to defeat another evil. Like, maybe they could have defeated these wolves and the wolves be like, okay, we'll leave officially. Like, that could have been cool. It does not happen. It does not. Instead, we get stuff about how Maria's friends don't want to be friends with Tora still because she's weird and she's ugly and she's weird. Contrary to belief, which I don't trust Maria still, but you could definitely tell that those two have like become like this. But like Tora has had the most character growth, but at the same time, when it comes to one particular character needing the spotlight, she does go under the radar a lot, which is a shame because I think, again, we did see it in book 3 that she can become a good leader, because Argus sure as hell didn't. Argus didn't choose to. And it's not a matter of him being like, okay, I'm gonna choose not to. It's a matter of him just, like, Tora butted in first, saying, hey, I'm taking charge because Noble is not here. And that made her a leader to where she stepped up when someone was not able to. Because Harlan as well, he had the quality of being like, okay, maybe I could, but like clearly Tora was very headstrong, knew what she wanted to do, clearly had been watching Noble like be a leader and realized how he was indeed a leader. Argus did not. Argus was the fighter, sure, but he still doesn't have the qualities of leader. And again, you would have thought that maybe, what was it, book 2 where they met their uncle, that you would have seen that, yeah, like he doesn't, and he's not ready. Even like later on he may be, but right now definitely not. It also becomes the point of, Argus, you suck at math and you're a terrible cheater. Before I ramble on too much, I must talk about Wolfman. I will also, in this review, or this portion too, we'll talk about the essays or the little short summaries that Edo gives us. And let me just tell you this before we get there. Edo, they treated you like shit. They should have, honestly, like, at least allowed you to walk up on stage and be like, here's the author. And I don't know if that's how all of them are treated. Especially a guy who, is known for this werewolf stuff, that maybe, looking into, someone else's work, they may want some recognition. Maybe not. But Edo, you got fucked over, and honestly, I'm very sad that, like, your stuff didn't get picked up. Especially because it seemed like second season was happening, and circumstances out of your control made it stop. And and while I do have issues with the characters, I do honestly feel bad for Edo himself. Especially because, God, what was it? 20 years from, like, when it could be to now. I think I said this about the Chronicles of Vladimir Todd. It could work this year, like this time, as a TV show, but at the same time, not at the same time, because the fans are there, and you could open your world to new people getting into your stuff, but truthfully, I don't know how well it would do. Would a reboot be possible? I don't know. I haven't even watched the movie yet, or the show yet, so we'll see how that goes, especially because I didn't like book 2 whatsoever. But again, there was changes that were made. I don't like change. I will also get to that later on in this review, because what the hell are you doing? Anyway, not you, Edo. Not you. Well, it's also you. You wrote the book, but Eddie Elson is reading the paper one day, happening to catch a glance at Argus's name inside after saving Angelina as his golden retriever Jaeger begins barking at something. Ernie releases him as he too goes walking outside, shotgun in hand. He comes over towards his barn and sees that the door has been blown off, as well as the cages that held his rabbits. A few are missing, as he sees a few are being carried off by wolves as they go into the forest. Ernie marches out to shoot them, only to sadly find Jaeger dead. He swears to get revenge as we cut to the pad trying to study math. Ew! Garrett gets a call and this bullshit line is uttered. Well, the sergeant sighed. He says he just lost a few of his animals, a couple of rabbits and his dog Jaeger. A pause. Says they were killed by wolves. Garrett said nothing for a moment. Then finally, wolves, you say? At the mention of wolves, Garrett's wife Phyllis came into the room. She stood silently by her husband's side, her hands folded across her stomach and a grave look of concern on her face. I didn't say that, the sergeant said. Ernie Elsa did. Wolves don't kill dogs, Garrett said, and they sure don't break into cages and steal rabbits. Hey, Edo, XFEC technician here. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Especially when you have a pack of them. Yes, the fuck they do. They don't care. And especially if that dog is a threat and these wolves are hungry in wintertime. Yes, they do. They don't care. They're very meticulous. They don't care. Garrett believes the wolves killing out there are the same who tried to get Angelina, which yet again proves my point. Yes, they don't care. He wants to kill them, but Garrett asks the sergeant to hold him off until he sees the scene of the crime, to which he agrees. The pack believes it to be one of the wolves, now turned werewolf, but they aren't so sure since it could be a bear or another large animal. Of course, they go to inspect. But Noble has a point of maybe not going because gun-crazed man was ready to shoot at any wolves. Argus asks if he's scared because he nearly died, and we reiterate, gun-crazed guy. We've been shot multiple times. We don't need to antagonize the man ready to kill a wolf, Argus. This issue of Argus trying to argue gets worse. So don't fret. We'll have more to talk about on why Argus is now the least favorite character. The pack see all the carnage and see that the claw marks on the dog are indeed a werewolf's and possibly bigger than Argus's. Argus and Tora agree that they had to fight it if they wanted Angelina alive, but Noble is questioning them a little. Noble says that since Argus created him, it's technically his son/brother, which in this case, Argus needs to find it, but we don't have time to dawdle as Ernie shoots at them, causing them to run away. Oh, by the way, when he says, hey, you need to go talk to him. Yeah, forget you even heard that. I just realized that now. Forget you even heard about that. Argus is hardly ever in this picture. He is all for himself. They tell Garrett and Phyllis everything as surprise, surprise. They don't find the situation at all funny that Ernie tried to shoot them. They begin discussing that the wolves definitely will come back, as Ernie had called on a town meeting for the plague that is the killer wolves. Don't call it a plague, dude. Just say it's a bunch of wolves and we gotta get rid of them. Don't call it a plague. Also, there's a few things that come out with the pack. Maria and Tora are good friends, even sharing food, but Maria's friends don't really care for her.
Nobody cares! Nobody! And you need to shut up!
Also, Argus is going to try out for track, but they've been told they can't because their wolf side could come out. But he reiterates to Noble that the ranger, aka Garrett, said no to football because their anger could come out more and more, making them shift, but not running. Or competitive sports in general could make you shift, aka what we see later. Oh no, I hope this doesn't come to bite us later. So the plot with Argus failing math so badly that he may not pass is kind of just thrown at us, because, you know, having a killer wolf man running around isn't stressful enough.
He said it! He said it!
And also, gotta mention this right here, it's also hinted that he's failing every other class, so for him to be even in this track thing to begin with, would not happen. I don't know about Canadian schools, I just know, like, in my school in the US, if you had a C- or lower, they were like, no. But some of them made exceptions, like if you're actually in classes and you're trying, or if you have like a special like situation going on. But then again, they still were like, hey, you have to have like really good grades to participate in this still. And again, it may be different from other schools in other countries too. But again, I don't know how they would have allowed Argus to really continue doing this, especially since he's failing pretty hard to the point where he may be held back. And then Noble just says, well, if he doesn't want help, then he can fail. I get your thought process because he doesn't understand, and he seems like the type of person that if he does not understand, he's going to continue to be confused and try essentially not to do anything about it until it's pushed under the rug, until it comes to bite him in the ass. And again, Wolfman is out here, and so is this gunslinging Ernie, but for some reason we are forced to see the worst of the pack. The meeting is pretty tense, with them blaming Garrett for letting the wolf Dr. Monk had left out there to pretty much fend for itself, to which we find out that more pets and more wildlife have been slaughtered. Garrett basically says that they have traps ready to relocate the alpha, but the crowd ain't having it. The sergeant as well tries to say that they're doing everything they can, but again, no good. Essentially, the group of angered townspeople gives them a few days or they'll kill them all. That's bad. There are hunting seasons for wolves too, but get this. No wolves mean other animals take over like deer and other wildlife who will become a problem later. So no, we shouldn't kill them all. We learned this in elementary school. I know you guys haven't been since you were yesterday, but still, we probably shouldn't just be killing wolves out there for whatever reason, especially because, again, it seems like they will come back for vengeance and or bring friends. So no, don't do that. The pack are told not to run into the woods for a while, which they aren't too happy about, as Argus brings up wanting to do track in the meantime to get some of his internal instincts out. Garrett agrees, but if he uses his wolf power or shifts, he's out. Of course, this doesn't account for his failing grade, since I think you gotta have a D again, which I reiterate, but still. Garrett doesn't know that because apparently he doesn't really check up on his kids' like homework assignment. I don't know. Anyway, he's got other shit going on right now. Then we finally get to see our newly turned wolf, who clearly is smart as shit. He killed the dog in order to keep his pack safe and killed the rabbits because his pack was hungry, and now has a plan to eat towards where humans would go to get more food. No, not town, not someplace else, somewhere more personal. We get a scene of Tora acting more girly, as this is clearly a way for us to see if Maria and Tora are friends, as Argus is at the first track meet, and my heart breaks for poor Garrett. That was football coach, the ranger, my dad. Argus disliked using the word because the ranger was not his father, but people asked too many questions when he called the ranger anything else. Said I can't play any contact sports, but running's an individual thing, right? Boo! Oh, poor Garrett. You raised this kid for X amount of years and he still won't call you fucking, like, even like a parental figure? Like, bruh. I wonder how the others felt about that because, like, even if he's not your dad, he's your dad. He raised you. That's your father. Why are you such an absolute dickhead? They practice running around the school, and Argus is cocky as hell before realizing he may actually have to try since he's not used to running outside of wolf form, and even is shocked a girl is faster than him.
Disappointed!
You, Argus, are now the worst character, and we had Dr. Monk in first place for a while. He manages in third place, as second and first place go to help the other runners. Nice of them to do. I don't know if they actually do this normally or if this is just for support, but it's nice enough to see. Argus wants to go running. This is after they've been home for like a few hours, by the way. And that means going out at night, to which Garrett said not to do. Of course, he wants to anyway, but Noble tries to stop him, moving aside after realizing he could probably make him move if he kept standing there. As Argus reveals, he got third, and he may have his pride hurt.
Good.
Garrett and Phyllis arrive back and are pissed he left as gunshots ring out. Ernie had shot a wolf, but sadly he can't find it, but it is injured. There is no sign of Argus as things become tense. Argus returns home confused as to what's going on, as someone else had followed him. The newly turned werewolf carrying his injured companion. Asking for help, Garrett assists, along with the rest of the pack, as we get some chilling information. The wolf is its mate. If she dies, everyone around probably will too. The werewolf realizes how much he's changed, from wanting to go towards man to now wanting to go deeper into the forest to even wanting to kill Ernie. Chooses not to since more men with guns would come after them and kill more of his pack. His only option is to get his mate help and disappear. Damn. Like, I kind of really do feel for this wolf because he's doing everything just to survive. Damn book. Way to make me feel like really bad for a wolf. A newly turned wolf, by the way. One that in the third book, I remind you, tried to kill a little girl. But again, they were all starving, and it was winter time. So, shit's getting a little tense here. Thankfully, she'll make a full recovery as they place her by the fence so the werewolf can see that she's alright and in a few days can leave. Argus gets a stern talking to, which is boiled down to, looks like someone doesn't want to follow the rules. And, got beat, didn't ya? So, just be careful. Like, why have this conversation? Anyway, Ernie finds out that the veterinarian saved the injured wolf and they want it dead. Garrett tells the sergeant that he'll have the wolf relocated and the others will follow. Call it a hunch or whatever, he says. The sergeant also says they're going to have a meeting tomorrow, so this should be fun. Phyllis feeds the injured wolf and sees that she's doing better. Even the werewolf is friendly, waving back at her. Give us more POV of him, please. Like, I truly want to see, like, how he's become more human. Like, he's waving. He does sort of, like, sign language a little bit. Like, he clearly is getting these emotions and these thought processes, like, so suddenly that he himself has no clue how to handle them, but now is doing, like, essentially what normal people would do and help his pack out when this shit is so dangerous that they have to leave. Argus discovers cheating via looking over at the smartest person and copying their answers, and even has a terrible mindset of wanting to be his teammates instead of being friends with them. He comes in second and literally walks away from the team because he's in a bad mood. How about training with your siblings? No, that would mean competition and Argus is the best and shut up. The meeting still is a cluster, but the sergeant threatens that if they shoot any animals out of season, they'll go to jail. This also comes after Garrett tells them that the wolf has been healed and will be rehomed, to which no one is happy about, but they still got time before they start going after the wolves themselves. I suggest these people read a book or use the Google, but you know. Michael shows up to the pack's house, and Tora shows him the injured wolf and the newly changed werewolf. Any normal person would be shitting their pants, especially because the pack haven't even shifted in front of him, but he's chill as a cucumber about the whole thing. He leaves as Phyllis and Garrett return to see that the wolf is ready to leave. With the go-ahead, they do just that, telling the wolf that this is their home, while the werewolf communicates that he is leaving and doesn't feel safe here. As the wolf leaves, gunshots rung out. Argus is shot in the leg by the drunken Ernie and is in the hospital. So, why the hell was he in the woods? Hey, Argus! Why don't you know how to fucking listen? We have given you ample opportunity to learn. You deserve this. You're lucky you didn't lose your leg. Anyway, they rush to the hospital and Garrett gives him a stern talking to. His punishment? Healing as quick as a human would usually.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
I don't know what the scenario would be for this either, but I guess. This means no more track, to which I say, good. Little shit was going to become a monster if he stayed on the team. This also comes months after saving Angelina, I just want to remind everyone that, because that means he's going to be in the newspaper twice for, one, being injured by gunshots, which the newspaper could say just random hunters, and number two, that they're going to bring up that he saved Angelina. Ernie thinks he's going to jail but can't be charged. Attempted murder. Because Garrett wasn't letting them kill the wolves. Attempted murder. Because he went after Garrett's kid. Because Garrett wouldn't let them shoot these wolves. Next question. Of course, he can avoid jail if he tells his friends not to continue looking for the wolves and warns them about gun safety. Of course, he agrees. Even better news is Harlan joined the track team and got first place.
What a big happy family we got here.
And their math teacher knows Argus has been cheating, so he's got some extra stuff to do to get actually caught up. Anyway, the gang all hang out at a pizza place, minus Argus. Hospital, I guess. And we ended off with everyone eating pizza and planning to see a movie. That's it? No, really. That's it. No final battle, no Michael having to fight with them, no Dr. Monk coming back, just Argus forcibly learning his lesson via a bullet to a leg.
Well, that was a load of shit.
I'm gonna, before I talk about the stuff with Edo's essays, I will say this now. Argus, you're a dickhead, and you got your karma, this is what you deserve. Also, the stuff with Michael, Tora mentions that, like, oh, she's been kind of neglecting her boyfriend, but what we kind of see them flirting, not really. Like, it's 2 scenes out of this whole thing. There's so much stuff in here that just felt like really forcibly put together. Because, again, I think I said it before that Maria's friends were like, no, we don't want to be friends with her. And at the pizza place, like, Maria gives a speech about, like, yeah, I was mean to her, but I'm actually changing. And I saw that, like, they're cool people. So, you either can be friends with them too, or you could just fuck off. And they surprisingly stay. Which I'm like, I mean, she did give a really compelling speech, but then still, it was like... Anyway, I've abducted a small child. This book, pretty much, it's not the worst. It is truly not the worst book. I still say book 2 is pretty bad, but this is, like, pretty much second up there because, again, it became the Argus show. Everyone give a round of applause for this man who went from bloodthirsty child to now a musclehead dude. Because, weirdly enough, the stuff with, oh, Girls Stronger With Me just came out of left field. Because your sister, not only was strong too, fast enough, but also has done just as much, if not more, than you. So, honestly, that came out of left field, and that was jarring as hell. Get him a red-pilled podcast at this point. But seriously, and again, like, Noble being like, yo, the sergeant said this, because I think book 3 had it to where, like, Phyllis was like, please don't go out there for me, and he listened. That made him more human to me too. Tor has always been like the more human one, and Harlan as more than less, which I feel like, again, Harlan is true middle child syndrome, which I feel bad for him, especially because he has the potential to be better too, which he had in the 3rd book. But again, because Argus is such a blunt personality, Noble's the leader, and Tora, she's got like her human stuff going on. All in all, I do recommend this series. All of these books don't kind of like connect. Like, they do tell us like, oh, remember that one time Tora was abducted? Oh, remember that forest fire that was started? But for a final book, I did really like the werewolf stuff. I wish we got to see more of that. Like, maybe the wolves broke into the houses on like Christmas Day to steal, like, you know, the feast and all that. That would have been interesting as fuck. Especially like if Argus had to come back and be like, I'm top alpha here. Like, I'll show you, like, you gotta get out of my forest. That doesn't end up happening. I do like the stuff, like, where he does show more compassion, especially for his mate. How we know it's his mate? You got me, folks. Anyway, but he also does, like, talk about how, like, he wants to protect his pack. So, who knows? And also, he can shift back into his wolf form, but he can go, like, between half, like, the werewolf form and the wolf form. Oh, I just realized he probably could have as well, like, bit his, like, companions and turned them too. That would have been an interesting thought, because he realized, like, hey, this one bit me. Maybe I could get them to bite her, and then that would have been interesting. That would have been cool. We don't get that. And this is also the last of the book, so I'm going to read the Edo stuff about his final words. We get some background as to how this came to Paramount, as this book was published in 2004. Now, that's almost 20 years later, which is now becoming a full series. Edo worked on anthologies for a while before having it be cut short, as his wife Roberta suggested going from horror for young adults to just young adult. The ideas came flowing as he won the Birch Award and even had gotten a TV series deal by one of the producers of Survivor in 2006 by Paramount, but sadly nothing came of that. I will also add this too. He does talk about how the stuff with the werewolves came to be, and that award was like 2004, to where when it was like super popular, and after getting the Birch Award is when like he was kind of introduced. Dude, to be fair, yeah, 2006, this would have been the show that like people would be like nostalgic for young teens. Like this, probably Paramount, Nickelodeon, we would have been getting a whole bunch of other stuff. Or it would have been like those, like how Percy Jackson was for a long time, that like we only had one movie because the first one was like done, and then like the second, third, and fourth never got made until like 2014, and everyone's like, no, and then they try to reboot it. Maybe, I don't know. I just thought of that because it's like, how many stuff is getting rebooted nowadays? Could have been 2006, and then, oh my gosh, that thing would have been everywhere. Dude, because the craze during that time for these paranormal romance, not paranormal romance, but these like paranormal, like fantasy stories, like that would have been like something. Especially because, guess what stuff came out that year? Here's something I found interesting. Wolfpack sold 10,000 copies, while the others hardly broke 1,000. What the hell? What books were popular at these times? Oh. It all makes sense now. On the bright side, in our Lord 2020, Edo was asked again about the series becoming a thing, to which he plays with the offer. Cash money, of course. And in December of that year, it's announced that not only would the series be made, but so was a Teen Wolf movie. Okay, I don't know what's worse, the Teen Wolf movie being in competition, or the tagline for another popular show was clearly overshadowing Edo's. Anyway, Edo and Roberta fly to Atlanta, Georgia in 2022 to where they meet the cast and crew. Just 7 episodes out of 10. Oh dear. And this is my thing too. Edo, I know you have a YouTube channel, so I gotta know, like, did they ask, hey, do you want to be like on the set to give your input, or were they just like, oh, we get the script, we're gonna do it as we see fit? Because from how it seemed later on, it seems like they just kind of did whatever. Again, I have not watched the show yet. I'm just reading his essay stuff right now. But from the changes that happen, it seems really random that you write here, especially names. Like, some of them are weird, but they kept Harlan. Everyone else is different, but Harlan, I don't get it either. It's a wink at, you know, they could have kept all of them. Ranger Brock is too, it's not generic enough. Ah. Edo and his wife head to LA in 2023 for the premiere, in which I now find out the characters are named Everett, Blake, Luna, and Harlan. Why? I honestly feel bad for Edo because it just feels like it was indeed for the celebrities and he was not introduced to the audience. Even when his name appeared on the screen, no one but his wife cheered. Then after we talked about our hopes for a second season, he said there had to be a second season if I was going to have a cameo on the show. I was floored as this was absolutely unprompted. He had since reiterated it, so I have to assume that if and when there is a season 2, I'll have my 15 seconds or less in the spotlight. Or less. He thankfully gets to do another screening in Ontario, to which he finally gets his round of applause. Sadly, I only know of this series because it got cancelled. In 2024, the series was paused by the writer's strike. They did have some episodes made, but who knows how many. I don't know if they could bring this back, but maybe someday we'll have another chance. Hell, 20 years passed and it got a second shot, so why not? Like, this series in 2010 stopped being published, and now it's getting its second win. He also talks about how the first books were, like, really ugly. And you know what? The charm of it is how different they look. And again, it reminds me of, like, all the older, like, fantasy stuff where the werewolves are either, like, generically wolf-looking, or they're super ugly because half man, half wolf. And it could have been, like, all of the kids look different, so that could have been a cool thing, too. But some of them, they look really, like, interesting, because I saw one of the Wolfman, and I'm like, to be fair, I think there's a few of them that are interesting, but most of them look like they were drawn in the dark. Which, to be fair as well, Edo was like, I don't want to be a bothers me. If you, I'm saying this to everyone out there, if you personally do not like something, and this is your baby, this is your work, you damn well better start shouting over the hilltops, fix my shit, or I will make sure that you don't get paid. Because this is your stuff. You have every right to make it. I do like these. I do. But at the same time, those werewolf covers, for your original stuff, you have to be outspoken. Oh, I'm a little introvert. I don't give a shit. Start finding friends that will be, like, loud and proud for you. Because this is how shit does not get right and how stuff gets taken out of your hands. You're writing this, I think these were, like, every year or something like that. But still, be up in arms about this. I guess final thoughts of this whole series before we jump to the show. Ooh, we can do guesses on the show, because again, what was it? Everett could be a good one. Blake, okay. Luna, I don't know why. Tora was a fine name. Why didn't you? Why the changes? I say that they're gonna start to follow more towards part 1, because the goons in the first one were kind of the comedy relief. I hope we get to see more character development between the siblings. And from how Edo also wrote it, that, like, the first episode was, like, the big, like, push. And a lot of people were like, episode 2 was where it dropped. That's where the money disappeared. And again, I think it's like this, not the CW. Yeah, the CW and, like, a bunch of other shows where episode 1 is their moneymaker. That's what they're banking on. That's where all your coin comes in. And then later on, some of them either succeed or they don't. So what I'm thinking is they're going to focus on the backstory of the kids a little bit. I don't think we'll get to see the uncle. We may just have a lot of scenes of them running around. I don't think we'll get the stuff with Dr. Monk until maybe episode 3 or 4. And it'll probably all wrap up like 5 or 6, and then maybe they'll try and do like the stuff with Angelina. Maybe, I think we'll more also see like the school stuff. I actually don't know how long these episodes are too, so it's going to be interesting to watch that. But either way, let's get on to watching the movie or the show or whatever. She's looking over there. But let's see what this is all about. So here's the thing you gotta understand, as I did in episode 1. This is not Wolfpack. This is its own thing. Which it's fine, but it's not Wolfpack. And I guess, in a sense, I'm thinking, okay, maybe they're taking parts of 1 and 4, maybe 3, like 2 definitely, they probably didn't care enough to keep it. But I'm also like, 4 was the most interesting one, along with 3. And I mean, Dr. Monk could have been like, ooh, he's working with the werewolf, same with Maria. But at the same time, this is very clear in episode 1. Wolfpack is its own thing. There is a wolf man. You could have had 4 siblings who were separated, come together, and realize they're werewolves. But instead, we have 2 of the kids being related while the other 2 are not. Which is still weird, but the story works its way around it, I guess. But at the same time, later stuff tries to convey, like, oh, they all could be technically siblings because they're don't make it like that. Just say we're part of a pack. A wolf pack, if you will. Our main characters are Everett, Blake, Harlan, and Luna. Why the name changes?
You can't keep getting away with it!
Luna and Harlan are siblings and werewolves. Luna is also called Elizabeth at times. It's not explained why the name changed, but oh well. There is an LA wildfire, because when is there not one? And Blake and Everett are on the school bus when suddenly animals flee from the burning forest, and instead of staying on the bus, they leave! Both Blake and Everett are bitten as Everett goes to the hospital and Blake runs to her house, where they leave for a motel to escape the oncoming fire. During the whole time, Ranger Garrett Briggs, again, name changes and for what, he's stuck in the middle of the fire and even records his last message for Luna and Harlan, but comes to his senses and trudges on seeing something. Everett gets a call while in the hospital that he needs to leave, otherwise it will find him. Who is he? The werewolf, of course. The werewolf must kill them before the next full moon or they'll... You know what? The full moon comes and goes and nothing. Not the kids changes, just gets slightly stronger and that's it! Boo! As night falls, Blake and Everett wounds heal as a new power emerges. They can see where one another are. This power also shows up twice before it's forgotten, which could have been cool if it's like a fated mates or even a course of you two were changed this day so you are connected, that sort of thing. Which again, could have been like how Harlan and Luna kind of can like sense one another, which again could have been cool. Two people changed on the same day and now they had like this sort of connection, because I will say this now, the show very clearly wants Everett and Blake to get together, which again, maybe that's another thing, like where two of them are changed at the same date and time, maybe they're always going to be mated. Who knows? I'm also realizing this now. These are minors. Luna and Harlan are the oldest, like they may be 18. But I'm also just like, oh, I just realized that Blake and Everett, they're in high school, but I don't know how old they are. Oh dear, it gets very smexy at times, and oh lord. Harlan and Luna see their dad's truck is slashed as it's more clear than ever that he was attacked by a werewolf before fleeing. Harlan is the worst character, by the way. He's an asshole. He doesn't call Garrett dad for whatever fucking reason besides teenage angst, and honestly, fuck him. He gets way worse later on. Speaking of worst characters, Daphne Blake. Her name is Kristen, and she's the arson detective who is everywhere in this case. Not just, oh, the arson that is happening in town. I'm talking like these missing kids, these sudden attacks, these people that are trudging on like abandoned houses. She's everywhere. Why are you here? Everett leaves the hospital in front of everyone and even manages to change his clothes too, deciding to find Blake. She too is on the move, running at supersonic speed, and finds her house pretty much destroyed by the fire. I'm going to give you the backstory of Harlan and Luna before we get too into it, since I don't know where to put it anywhere else without disturbing the flow. 18 years ago, remember what I said before, a forest fire broke out similar to what's happening now. Garrett finds two wolf pups in a tree stump and takes them home to help them out. He turns around for a second before seeing two human babies. Nothing else is added to this, and maybe the second season could have put more into this, but we know how that went. While at Blake's, the two realizes that their wounds had not only healed, but gotten stronger, leaner, faster, and they can only see their wounds. I don't know why either, like it's randomly like, Dad, do you not see this wound on me? And he's like, no, it's a little red because you keep touching it, but like, okay, whatever. I also don't understand that. Then why the hell is he at the hospital? Oh yeah, the smoke inhalation, maybe. But considering what happens to Garrett later, this man could have been let out of the hospital 2 hours from now. The werewolf arrives, but is stopped by the neighbor's dog before the two run away. Kristen believes this fire was started by a student, one maybe who was on the bus with Blake and Everett. How do we know this? How did she come to this conclusion?
Why do I even bother?
The kids are all brought together via the call of the werewolf, and they realize they are indeed all the same. There is one missing person, though. Connor. He was one of the people on the bus and has a broken leg. Sadly, he's not getting his cast off the way he would like, and this poor kid as well was bitten. He too gets the call telling him to run, but the werewolf is not only on his tail, but his cast is beaten off as he tries to escape. Connor is not the first nor the last victim of this werewolf. This werewolf is out for blood and is doing so for our pack. You see, the werewolf has been following our pack in secret and can sense that they are a part of his pack too, including who is the weakest link. The werewolf is killing for them, but also to protect them. Can you guess who else is the werewolf? I'll give you some time to guess, even though I've never said the person's name and they're not introduced until episode 7, I think? No, really. You'll never guess who the other werewolf is who is killing people. Lucky for us, Garrett is found safe and sound and even leaves the hospital that following day. Smoke inhalation is not a thing, apparently. The pack are taken to the police station for questioning about the fire, to which they realize they can hear one another and even feel their own anxieties. By the way, Luna has hyper sense of smell, Everett is strong, Blake is fast, and Harlan can hear really good. This also means that they can talk to one another, which, by the way, as well, doesn't matter past a certain point. I don't understand why you bring it in to take it out. It'd be different if it's like, hey, we can only do it like the second and third Sundays or whatever, but even then, that's stupid. After Garrett comes to rescue them, he tells Harlan and Luna about a special type of gun. Take a fucking guess what's so special about it. During this whole discussion, they believe it to be Harlan and Luna's bio dad.
Am I dead yet?
I'm also fast forwarding through a lot of guessing games from our pack. Austin was one of the guys who was on the bus and knows what he saw wasn't human. Everyone's fucking gaslighting him, to which, yeah. We cut to a house party where the best decision happens with these kids. They get high on shrooms with a werewolf ready to attack.
Wait, that's illegal.
The werewolf arrives and blocks everyone from leaving, but somehow one guy does. This becomes prevalent later because this is the first introduction as to someone having a bad trip. Garrett manages to wound the werewolf with the silver as it runs off. That werewolf turns out to be Kristen's son, aka she is a werewolf, and now for her backstory. 18 years ago, firefighters were killed in the forest, as one lone one is now working in the hospital as a janitor. They were killed by Kristen because they killed her pack, as fire makes them change. Yeah, do what you will with that one, I guess. I mean, cool, but also, how? Like, I truly don't understand. It has to be a forest fire, by the way. It can't be like a campfire. Even then, wow. This also made Kristen's kid, Baron, change as well, but can't remember much. The beast is doing most of the talking. Again, I don't understand that one either. Oh, also, Kristen is Harlan and Luna's bio mom, as Baron is their bio brother. Neat. The fire was started by someone using 3D printer devices that were dropped up by drones, and they think that it was one of the students, aka, who knows, but it was Kristen. How she got in here, I don't know, because they made it seem like only the school has a 3D printer. No, bitch, 3D printers can be bought by anyone. Again, it could be a student BS was stupid to begin with. Her plan is this: keep the kids together and even change Garrett.
I see this as an absolute win.
But he says no, as Blake doesn't want this, afraid to hurt her family, while Everett is just tired of having anxiety and even being abused by his mom. I can see both sides, especially since all this BS is happening. There is a thing to turn them back, though. Kill the werewolf and bring Baron back from death. They use Austin as bait since it seems like he's next, and it works for the most part, but Austin just stabs Baron with a knife encrusted with silver. They bring him to Everett's home, and while he does turn back, he's still poisoned. So you want to know what his and Kristen's powers are? Kristen can heal, including wounds and poison, and Baron can change people into werewolves. I thought we were going for werewolf lore, but whatever. I guess if they're going to change by fire, I guess I shouldn't have put the lore so high over my head. We ended up with Harlan getting arrested for the officer's death that he didn't do. By the way, there was a dickhead officer. Like, if I went into a real death review, yeah, this guy was a dickhead and he deserved it. Blake being put into foster care, and Everett being held for 72 hours because he hasn't been taking his anxiety medication and because he stood up to his mom kind of harshly, but hey, deserved. And yes, it ends like that because we were banking on season 2, but sadly, due to the writer's strike, it never got finished. Now, my theory on how this ends. It will end with the pack will stay werewolves, but end up killing Baron and Kristen, but Austin does turn too, because why not? And also, he'll probably have this werewolf power too, but it'll be more so like it'll be like a last solution, and even then, like, they have to keep a good watch of him. Also, the mysterious caller is never revealed, but it is clear it's their bio dad, or maybe someone else. Who knows? If you want to see me do a full review on this, like, just actually asking, I have a full script ready and planned for this, but here's the thing about this too that I will end it up on. This is its own thing, and while I did enjoy myself, some of the stuff is really stretching it. Like the fire stuff and how like these firefighters were all killed, it's really weird. Especially because they were really banking on you trying to figure out who this caller is. To be fair, I knew Kristen was a werewolf. It's very clear as day to see. But it also clearly was not her. We don't know shit. We didn't know shit about Baron. We didn't, like, see him in school. We didn't see him, like, around. Like, he wasn't, like, one of, like, Luna's friends, one of Austin's friends. We didn't even see him on the bus. So, again, replace Baron with anyone, and you could have been like, oh, it's him. You know what? It would have been funnier if it was Blake's dad. If it was Blake's dad or Everett's dad or Everett's mom, that would have been cool. It's not. But here's the other thing, too. There's a lot more stuff that happens behind the scenes that I didn't get into because some of it, again, is more like just character stuff. But, by God, did they put Blake and Everett, like, together? Which, again, we were kind of rooting for them to be together. Harlan is also, like, he is gay. Anytime he gets angry, he leaves to go out and go hook up with some dude. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. I don't understand the thing with Luna not wanting to be called Elizabeth anymore. I don't understand it. It's not described. It's just like she doesn't want to. Okay, do you want to tell us why? No. And again, at times, Luna is the only one with a clear head on her shoulders. But then at points in time, like when she wants to do something, Harlan's like, no, we don't have to do this. They can fuck around and die for all. Harlan is the worst character. Harlan sucks balls. I really liked Blake and Everett. Like, they are like the top characters. Same with Garrett. And to be fair, when you see the backstory of both how Harlan and Luna were like growing up, you could be like, yeah, I understand where this silver bullet thing came from. But it's also like a, hey, there's another lady here who knows about you people. What's her issue? And also, she could have also been the werewolf. Who knows? But also, there are times where I have a heightened sense of smell. Oh, I can't smell shit. I have a heightened sense of, like, strength. Never mind. It doesn't work right now. My brother in Christ, pick a power. And either it works sometimes or it doesn't work other times. Like, okay, the strength in, like, the full moon, I could understand. These kids also go to school maybe 5 times in this entire thing. Now, mind you, the school stuff is not the main priority, so I kind of understand why. But again, I'm so upset that there's no season 2 because you just know this is going to be 6 seasons and they're going to be pulling shit out of their ass. Like 110%. I think I also said it too in the review that like maybe the bio dad was supposed to be like Edo von Balkum, which that would have been funny. That really would have been funny. But I don't think they would have been that smart to think of that either. Edo, you have the option to say, these are my children. Which technically, I guess, these books are your children. But still, who's the mysterious caller? Who cares? It's gonna die with this series. So, final thoughts for all of this. Also, ignore that. That's for later. Shh. So that is a pillow. That one right here, who is purring so happily behind here, that's where she lays sometimes, so ignore that. But all in all, for both the books and the show definitely has rewatchability. I did enjoy myself, but there are so many like open ends because there was supposed to be a second season. They really were like, we're gonna get it. And they did. They had the green light until, shit was out of their control. Now, mind you, will this be rebooted? I don't know. From what I've read, it was maybe like 4 or 5, maybe 6 episodes that they had recorded, possibly, but I don't know how far the editing was. I don't know where the direction of the story they were going to take it. The books, however, definitely 1 and 3. 1 and 3 are the best. And I very much still I have issues with both, especially with the books where I would have loved to have gotten into our characters' heads. I would have liked to gotten to know them more. I don't know if there ever will be, or if there even is another kind of side stories with these characters, especially because Michael, Martin, and Tora are probably, like, they're gonna get married. And again, human and werewolf. That's another thing. It's not really discussed truly. Dr. Monk is still out there. Who knows what else could happen later on, especially because now thinking about it, I forget the one bully's name. He definitely could come back and be, like, working for Dr. Monk in the TV show again. It could happen, like, to get another season. It can be rebooted. It's just a matter of, like, when is the like, strike it while it's hot, you know? Which it could be any time, but at the same time, I don't know if they'll actually think of it, because Teen Wolf had the movie, and to be fair, I heard not so good things about this book. I've either heard that it's alright, or it's nothing like the original. Hold on. The original. Now, mind you, I don't think I'll compare the two, because I don't know where in book and, you know, TV show how much they are similar, how much they're not. And again, I only got this because it was, if I purchased it off of a certain site, I got it for free because it was under $5. I ripped it. In 3 discs with all 12 season, contains all 12 season 1 episodes. 12 season 1 episode. 12 season 1. That hurt my head, and I don't know. But instead of doing a short one as well, I'm going to pick up a longer series. One that has 4 books plus side characters plus another side book here. But I know they have comics. I know there's probably other books that may come out sooner or later. Mine is also very screwed up because I also got it secondhand. I've wanted to read these for a minute. I have a couple of other series that I've been kind of holding on to, and I'm like, okay, I want to do a long series. I want to get them out the way. I want to delve into, like, you know, Monster High universe, because Monster High is back. I actually, for when the review comes out, I actually have an original rollback of Steam. Want to know why I got it? I also have a Skeletor doll of the Deus Muertes. I don't remember her actual name. I have her as well. We're getting new books, which it's the newest one was Dracula. We got another comic, which again, I won't be going over the comics because most of them are online. If I can find like an original, like it's in paperback, then maybe I'll review it, but I probably more likely will not. Just because I'm more so going on the books and not the comics right now. How long is On Fire? Don't know. We'll figure it out probably in like June. No, realistically, yeah, June. It's not funny, but it is. I'm busy. Anyway, thank you for watching as of this far. Hit subscribe, whatever the hell else this YouTube channel does. I review movies, I review books. Come check me out on something else that is happening on my channel. Every Halloween we review Halloween stuff. Every Christmas we review Hallmark movies. Why? Because I'm a glutton for punishment, and I'm sure by the time this comes out in June that I'll be trying to start catching up on, you know, the horror movies and the Christmas ones to try and get ahead, stressing myself the fuck out more. Why do I do this to myself?